I still feel that moment in my chest. The way he stepped toward us. The way his eyes looked at my little sister. Like she had broken some law no one knew existed. I remember the sound. His boots on the driveway. The radio on his shoulder hissing. The whole street watching from behind curtains. I never thought a small rule, a simple warning, a stupid HOA complaint, could turn into something like that. He raised his hand. My mom screamed. My dad moved fast. I heard something crack. Then everything went dark around the edges. Like the world stopped breathing. That was the moment. I realized something much bigger was happening. Something none of us were prepared for. Welcome back to HOA Stories. I am Mike. I live in a small suburban neighborhood on the east side. I work long hours in construction. I like peace. I like quiet. I hate petty rules. That is why the HOAs around here drive me crazy. If you hate HOAs too, or if you ever wanted to stand up to them, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, and write BOOO HOA so I know you are one of us. Share this video with anyone who has ever dealt with a power-hungry HOA. Now let me take you into my story, because what happened that day changed everything for us. That day started like any other morning. I walked out with my coffee, looked at the sky, and told myself the neighborhood was calm again. No warnings on the door. No letters in the mailbox. No stupid complaints about grass height or trash bins or mailbox paint. For the first time in weeks, I felt normal. Then I saw the HOA patrol car roll slowly down the street. The same black SUV with the yellow HOA security sticker. The same guy inside. Officer Trent. The guy everyone called the HOA cop. He looked at every house like he was searching for a crime. Like someone had stolen the crown jewels. He always took his job too seriously. Way too seriously. He once fined a neighbor because their welcome mat had a funny quote on it. Anyway, I kept sipping my coffee, trying to ignore him, trying to pretend he was not scanning our yard like a sniper. My dad walked out too, morning sun on his face, still half asleep. He looked at the SUV, then looked at me. We both knew. Something stupid was about to happen. My little sister came outside next, holding her phone, laughing at some video, wearing a sweatshirt and shorts. Nothing crazy. Nothing wrong. Just a normal teenager minding her day. Officer Trent hit the brakes. Hard. The SUV stopped right in front of our driveway. The engine purred. The window rolled down. He stared straight at my sister. Not at me. Not at my dad. Only her. My mom came out with a basket of laundry. She froze right away. She hated dealing with HOA people more than any of us. Trent stepped out of the SUV. Slow. Purposeful. The kind of walk cops use when they want to intimidate you. He said, "Ma'am, you know this outfit violates HOA dress code." My sister blinked, like she had heard something insane. She whispered, "What?" He pointed at her shorts, then looked at my dad. "Sir, we talked about this last month. You cannot allow inappropriate clothing on the front lawn." My dad laughed. Not a funny laugh. The kind of laugh you make when someone disrespects your kid. He said, "She's a child. There is no rule for shorts. What is wrong with you?" Trent stepped closer. Too close. Like he wanted to tower over her. I felt my jaw tighten. My hand squeezed the cup so hard the lid cracked. My mom moved to my sister and stood in front of her. Trent said, "Step aside. I need to document the violation." My mom said, "Document what?" "She is going to school. She is not doing anything wrong." He lifted his radio, started speaking into it, like backup was needed for a child wearing shorts. It felt unreal. The entire street felt unreal. Two neighbors peeked from their windows. One old man on a porch leaned forward. A woman across the street stopped walking her dog and just stared. Everyone knew Trent. Everyone knew how he behaved. But none of them expected what happened next. He walked toward my mom. Fast. Way faster than I thought he could move. My dad stepped forward, put his hand out, said, "You stop right there." Trent slapped my dad's hand away. Hard. Loud. The sound echoed across the quiet cul-de-sac. My mom screamed. My sister gasped. I felt heat rise inside my chest. Something pure and raw. Like a wire snapped inside me. My dad stood firm. He said, "Touch my family again and see what happens." Trent's face twisted. Like he had been waiting for that line. He shoved my dad in the shoulder. Not a small push. A full shove. My dad stumbled back. Hit the side of our car. I dropped my coffee. It splashed everywhere. My sister started crying. I stepped in front of her. My mom shouted, "Call the real police. Call them now." Trent reached for his belt. Not a gun. Thank God. But his baton. I saw the metal glint in the sunlight. I felt something cold run through my spine. He yelled, "This family does not respect authority. Your house is now under immediate HOA investigation. You people need to learn your place." My dad pushed himself up, his cheek red, his breathing heavy. He said, "You are out of control. You need to leave." Trent stepped forward again. Closer. Closer. His hand gripping the baton. For a second. A long second. I thought he was going to swing it at my dad. My mom pulled my sister behind her. She was shaking, barely standing. I moved between Trent and my dad. I said, "You touch him. You touch any of us. And you will regret it." Trent stared at me, his eyes cold, like there was nothing human behind them. Then something strange happened. He looked over his shoulder. Someone else was watching. Someone we had not noticed. Old Mr. Avery, the former police officer. The neighbor everyone respected. He stood at the edge of his lawn, arms crossed, eyes fixed on Trent. Trent froze. His face changed. His posture shifted. He looked unsure, like he knew Avery had seen everything. My chest rose and fell. My heart beat loud in my ears. My family stood behind me, shaken, silent. Then Trent said one line that made everything worse. "This is not over." He pointed at us, one by one. Then he got back into his SUV and drove off, slow, threatening, like he wanted the whole street to feel his anger. My dad sat down on the porch steps. My mom hugged my sister. I stood there staring at the empty space where the SUV had been. I knew this was only the beginning. Something darker was coming, something we were not ready for. "So tell me, if someone came at your family like that, what would you do?" I stood there staring at the street, my hands still shaking, my heart still pounding. The morning sun did not feel warm anymore. It felt harsh, like it was exposing us, like the whole neighborhood could see our fear. My mom whispered, "What happens now?" My dad rubbed his face, his cheeks still red from the shove. He said, "He just threatened us. He actually threatened us." My sister sat on the porch step, her knees pulled up to her chest, her eyes red. She kept saying, "I did nothing. I did nothing. Why did he do that?" I tried to calm her. I told her, "You did nothing wrong." He snapped, "Not you." But inside, I felt this heavy fear, this sinking feeling that Trent was not finished. Old Mr. Avery slowly walked toward us, his step steady, his expression serious. He looked like someone who had seen things like this before, someone who understood danger when others ignored it. He reached our driveway, looked around, then said quietly, "You need to document everything. Write it down. All of it. Right now. Before they twist it." My dad said, "They cannot twist this." He pushed me. He went after my wife and daughter. Avery shook his head, his voice low. "Son, you do not understand how HOA power works. They write the reports. They make the notes. They control the narrative." My stomach tightened. I asked, "So what do we do?" Avery pointed at our door. He said, "Inside. All of you. And listen carefully." We followed him in, closed the door, locked it. My dad exhaled like he had been holding his breath. My mom sat on the couch with my sister, still shaking. Avery stood in the middle of the living room, like a commander giving orders. He said, "This HOA. It is different. It is small, private, no oversight. They act like a government. But they are not. They are just neighbors with power." My dad said, "We know. We have lived here long enough." Avery nodded, then said something that made my chest tighten again. "You do not understand. Officer Trent. He is not just a security guard. Not just some wannabe cop. He got kicked off the real force years ago. For excessive aggression. For going too far. For hurting the wrong person." My mom gasped. My sister whispered, "How is he here then?" Avery sighed. "Because the HOA hired him. No background checks. No accountability. They gave him authority. A uniform. A badge. A title. And that was enough to feed his ego." I sat down slowly. The room felt smaller. He continued. "He knows how to intimidate. He knows how to twist stories. He knows how to push the limits until someone snaps back. Then he claims they attacked him." My dad clenched his fists. "So he will try to flip this." Avery nodded. "He will. He will say you hit him. He will say you resisted. He will say your daughter disrespected him. Anything to cover his behavior." My mom whispered, "What can we do?" Avery looked at me, straight into my eyes. "You need witnesses. Video. Proof. And you need to stay calm, no matter how much he provokes you." I swallowed hard. Staying calm felt impossible. After what he did, Avery said, "This is not just about your family. He has done this to others too. But no one ever had the courage to stand against him." My dad asked, "Why us then? Why go after us this hard?" Avery hesitated, then said, "Because your family does not fear him. You stand up. He hates that. He wants obedience. He wants silence." My mom held my sister closer. I could feel the fear in the room, like thick air. Avery walked toward the window, moved the curtain slightly, looked outside, then said quietly, "He will come back, sooner than you think. And when he does, he will not be alone." A cold chill ran down my arms. I asked, "What do you mean? Alone?" Avery said, "He will bring the board. Or a second patrol. Someone to back his story. Someone to intimidate you more." My dad stood. He said, "I will not let him walk over us. Not again. Not ever." Avery turned, his eyes serious. "Do not fight him. Not physically. That is what he wants. He wants you to react, so he can justify whatever he does next." I looked at my sister. She looked so small, so scared. I felt this fire inside me, a fire I could not put out. Avery said, "You need to stay smart, not angry. That is the only way families survive in neighborhoods like this." My dad nodded slowly, but he was not calm. I could see the storm in him, the same storm I felt in myself. Then we heard it, a loud horn. Not friendly, not normal, short bursts. like warnings, like someone demanding attention. We all turned to the window. A second HOA patrol SUV had stopped in front of our house. Black, shiny, lights flashing. Another officer stepped out. Younger, taller, more muscular. He scanned the house, then spoke into his radio. My sister whispered, "Why are there two of them?" Avery said, "Because this is how they escalate. One cop pushes. The second one reinforces. The board arrives later. To make it official." My stomach dropped. I felt a cold sweat on my neck. The second patrol officer walked up to our door. Slow, serious, his boots loud on the pavement. My mom grabbed my arm. She whispered, "Do not open it." We froze. No one breathed. He knocked. Hard. 3 times. My dad looked at Avery. Avery shook his head. "Do not answer." "Not yet." The officer knocked again. This time even louder. Then said, "Residents of 14 Oakwood, please step outside." His tone was not a request. It was a command. My dad whispered, "This is insane." Avery said, "Stay calm. Whatever you do, stay calm." We all stood in the living room, listening to the knocks, listening to the radio chatter, listening to our own fear. Then we heard another voice. A female voice. Sharp. Cold. "This is HOA Board President Julia. We need the family to come outside immediately." My mom covered her mouth. Not her. Anyone but her. Board President Julia was infamous. She fined people for having a garden hose visible. She banned holiday decorations. She once threatened to tow a neighbor's car because it had dust on it. If she was here, things were about to get worse. My dad whispered, "We cannot ignore them forever." Avery nodded. "You will not ignore them. You will handle this smart. You will step outside. But stay calm. Let me stand behind you." I have seen these standoffs before. We all moved toward the door. Slow, like walking toward something dangerous. Something unavoidable. My dad unlocked it. Opened it. Just a few inches. Board President Julia was standing there. Perfect posture. Clipped hair. Cold smile. 2 HOA patrol officers behind her, both staring at us like we were criminals. She said, "We received a report of physical aggression, serious misconduct, and multiple rule violations. We need to discuss the consequences." My dad said, "He attacked us. We did nothing." Julia tilted her head, like she enjoyed the moment. "We will determine the truth. But based on Officer Trent's statement, your family may face immediate HOA action." My chest tightened. My hands curled. I felt anger so strong it scared me. My sister whispered, "They are lying. They are all lying." Julia stepped forward, her eyes sharp. Then she said a line that made me feel something cold and heavy inside. "If you refuse to cooperate, the HOA has the right to escalate further." Avery whispered behind me, "Do not speak. Let her talk. Let her show her hand." Julia continued, "Your family has until tonight to accept responsibility or face penalties, possible property restrictions, and mandatory hearings." My dad asked, "Are you threatening us?" Julia smiled, a thin, cruel, confident smile. "I am giving you a chance. Consider yourselves warned." Then she turned, walked away. The officers followed her. The SUV engines roared, and they drove off. Slow, threatening, just like Trent had. We stood there in the doorway, the whole street watching. Every house, every window, every silent judge. I looked at my dad, my mom, my sister, Avery beside us. I realized something. This was no longer about a dress code, or a warning, or a shove. This was war. A quiet, suburban, HOA war. And they had just made their first move. So tell me, if someone gave your family a warning like that, would you stay calm? Or would you fight back? We stood in that doorway long after the SUVs were gone. The street looked normal. Quiet. Peaceful. Like nothing had just happened. Like no one had threatened us. Like no one had pushed my dad. Like no one had lied about us on the radio. But nothing felt normal inside me. I felt this tightness in my chest. This pressure behind my eyes. Something between fear and anger and disbelief. My mom closed the door slowly. My sister leaned against the wall and whispered, "How can they do this? How can they just say anything and make it true?" My dad paced the living room. Short steps. Fast steps. His hands opening and closing, trying to stop the adrenaline still running through him. He said, "We cannot let them push us around. We cannot let them tell the neighborhood who we are. We are not criminals. We did nothing. Nothing." Avery stood near the dining table. Calm. Steady. Watching all of us. He said, "You are right. But you need to understand something. HOAs do not need truth. They only need paperwork." My dad stopped. Turned. "What does that mean?" Avery stepped closer. "Means if Officer Trent wrote a report. If he claimed you were aggressive. If he wrote that your daughter was disrespectful. Then the board will believe it. Because they always believe their own." My mom shook her head. "This is crazy. This is insane. This cannot be legal." Avery shrugged. "Legal does not matter to them. They operate in a gray zone. They make the rules. They enforce the rules. They judge the rules." My sister whispered, "So they are the cops, the court, and the jury." Avery nodded. "Exactly." My dad slammed his hand on the table. Hard. Loud. This is wrong. This is so wrong. Avery stared at him for a long moment. Then said, You are not wrong. But you are emotional. And emotions lose battles like this. Strategy wins them. My dad sank into a chair, breathing hard, trying to ground himself. I sat across from him, my mind running, my heart heavy, my stomach twisted. Avery said, Here is what you need to know about Trent. He never works alone. He always has someone to back him. Someone to help him twist the story. Someone to intimidate the family afterward. Today that was Julia. Tomorrow it could be someone else. My mom asked, So what do we do? How do we fight something like that? Avery took a long breath. Then said, You start collecting evidence. Right now. Before they act again. My dad nodded slowly. Okay, we will record everything. Every word. Every visit. Every threat. Avery said. Good. You need timestamps. You need videos. You need proof they cannot erase. My sister whispered. What about the people watching? They saw it. The neighbors saw it. They can help. Avery shook his head. Do not count on them. They saw everything. But they will pretend they saw nothing. Why? My sister asked. Avery said. Fear. No one wants to be the next target. No one wants fines. Or threats. Or hearings. So they will stay silent. Even if they hate Trent. Even if they hate the board. I felt that. I felt the truth of that deep inside me. The way the curtains moved earlier. The way eyes disappeared when Trent looked around. Everyone was scared. Even if they pretended not to be. My dad stood up again. He said, Okay, evidence. What else? This cannot be all. Avery leaned on the counter. Then said something that hit harder than anything he said all morning. You need to prepare for retaliation. My mom grabbed the back of a chair. Retaliation. What does that even mean? Avery looked at her carefully. Slow. Soft. But honest. Letters. Warnings. Fines. Fake violations. Complaints. Surprise checks. Investigations. Board hearings. They will try everything. Everything they can. To break your confidence. To make you feel like you are losing control. To make you angry enough to make a mistake. I swallowed hard. My throat tight. He continued. Once they choose a target, they do not stop. Until the target either submits. Or moves away. My dad clenched his fists. They want us to move. Avery nodded. Yes. They will not say it directly. But that is exactly what they want. My mom whispered. We have lived here for 9 years. 9. We built our life here. Avery said. I know. That is why they think you will fight back. They like breaking the strongest families. Makes them feel powerful. My sister wiped her face. Her voice small. What do we do then? We cannot just let them win. Avery pointed at me. At my dad. At all of us. You make them regret choosing you. The room went quiet. Heavy. Serious. Something shifted in the air. Avery said. You do everything right. You follow every rule. You show them they picked the wrong family to bully. You make them choke on their own policies. You stay calm. You stay smart. And you gather evidence. My dad nodded. Slow. Controlled. Focused. Okay. We do that. We do exactly that. Avery said. Good. Then listen carefully. Because your first test starts in a few minutes. My mom frowned. What do you mean? A few minutes. Avery walked toward the window again. Lifted the curtain. Looked outside. Then said. Because here they come. My stomach flipped. My chest tightened. I rushed to the window. So did my dad. So did my mom. Down the street. That same black SUV was rolling toward us. Officer Trent. Back again. Not even an hour later. My sister gasped. No. Not again. Why is he back? Avery said. Because he wants to shake you. He wants to scare you. He wants to see if he can get you to slip. He wants a reaction he can report. My dad whispered. Not this time. We are ready now. But Avery said. Wait. Stay inside. Let him knock. Let him talk. Let him make the first move. Record every second. My mom grabbed her phone. Hands trembling. My dad grabbed his too. I reached for mine. The SUV stopped. Engine rumbling. Trent stepped out. Slow. Purposeful. Just like earlier. But this time, he was holding a clipboard. Not a baton. Avery whispered. This is how they do it. They switch roles. From aggression. To authority. To intimidation. So they can confuse you. My sister stood behind me. Her breath shaking. Trent walked up the driveway. He looked angry. But calm. Like he had rehearsed what he wanted to say. He knocked. 3 times. Hard. Cold. Sharp. My dad looked at Avery. Avery nodded. Open it. But keep the phone rolling. My dad opened the door. Not wide. Just enough. Trent stood there. A fake calm on his face. He said, I am here to deliver an official HOA notice. My dad said nothing. Just held his phone steady. Trent continued. Due to your family's aggressive behavior and your refusal to cooperate with HOA procedure, your property has been flagged for a mandatory compliance inspection, scheduled for tomorrow morning. I felt heat rise inside me. Aggressive behavior. Refusal. Lies. All lies. Trent looked at me. Then at my sister. Then at my mom. His eyes cold. His voice slower. You will open your home for inspection. Every room. Every space. If you refuse, we escalate. My dad said. We recorded everything this morning. We know what really happened. Trent smirked. A slow, cruel, confident smirk. Then record this too. You are on thin ice. And we will break it. He turned, walked away, got back into the SUV, and drove off, leaving the threat hanging in the air. Heavy, dark, real. My mom whispered. They want inside our house. Why? Why inside? Avery said. Because once they are inside, they can report anything they want. My dad clenched his jaw. Then we will prepare. We will not be scared. But I could tell. He was scared. We all were. Because tomorrow, they were coming into our home. And something told me. That inspection was not really an inspection. So tell me, if people like that had the power to enter your home, would you let them? Or would you stand at the door and block their way? The rest of that day felt unreal. Like we were living in a slow nightmare. Nothing loud. Nothing explosive. Just this quiet, crawling tension that refused to leave our house. My mom kept checking the windows. My sister kept jumping every time a car passed. My dad kept pacing around the kitchen. Thinking, trying to figure out how to protect us. I sat on the couch, my mind running nonstop. The words replaying in my head. Mandatory inspection. Every room. Every space. Thin ice. We will break it. I had never felt this helpless in my life. It was our home. Our safe place. And now it felt like someone else owned it. Avery stayed with us. He knew things were not normal. He knew Trent would not stop. He said, the inspection is a setup. They will not come to check the house. They will come to trap you. My dad asked, trap us how? Avery walked around the living room. Slow, thinking out loud. They might claim your home is unsafe. Or accuse you of unauthorized modifications. Or say your shed violates setback rules. Or your backyard is not compliant. They will find something. Even if they have to invent it. My mom whispered, why our home? Why our family? Avery stopped. Looked at her with sad eyes. Because you stood up to them. Because you made Trent lose control. Because Julia hates families that do not fear her. My sister hugged her knees. She said, I do not want them in my room. I do not want them touching my things. I sat beside her. Told her, they will not touch anything. We will be there. We will not leave you alone. But truth was, I did not know how tomorrow was going to go. I did not know what they would do. Or how far they would push. Avery clapped his hands once. Loud. Focused. Listen. You cannot control what they try. But you can control how prepared you are. My dad said, tell us everything. Tell us how to fight this. Avery nodded. Okay, here is the plan. He pointed toward the hallway. First, clean everything. Not because you have to, but because you will not give them excuses. Make it spotless. Make it perfect. My mom stood up immediately. Let's do it. Avery raised a hand. Not fast. Smart. If you look like you are panicking, they will smell fear. Move slow. Move steady. Move confident. My mom nodded slowly. Okay. Steady. Not scared. Avery continued. Second, keep your phones charged. Keep them on. Record from the moment they arrive. Until the moment they leave. My dad said, we will record. Every second. Avery said, good. Then he leaned closer. His voice lower. Third, stay calm. No shouting. No reacting. They want you angry. They want you to slip. They want a reason to write a new report. I swallowed hard. I knew staying calm would be the hardest part. Avery said, fourth, no one goes anywhere alone. You move as one unit. Always together. Always in the same room. I nodded. That made sense. A lot of sense. Avery said, fifth, when they ask questions, answer with simple words. Short. Clear. No extra details. No emotions. My sister whispered. Like robots. Avery smiled sadly. Exactly. My dad asked. Anything else? Avery hesitated. Then said. Yes. Prepare for surprises. My mom frowned. What kind of surprises? Avery looked toward the window. Toward the street. Then back at us. They will not come with just inspectors. They will come with someone new. Someone confident. Someone who will pretend to be reasonable. While the others play the villain. My stomach twisted. I already could guess who he meant. Julia. Avery nodded. She will come. She loves these moments. She loves showing people she holds the power. My dad clenched his jaw. We cannot let her walk all over us. Not tomorrow. Avery said. You will not. Because I will be here. Right beside you. My mom whispered. You are staying. Avery nodded. If I leave, you will be their prey. If I stay, they will think twice. Even if they hate me. My dad placed a hand on Avery's shoulder. Thank you. Avery looked away. Almost embarrassed. Just doing what is right. My sister stood. Her voice small. What if they bring Trent again? What if he gets angry again? Avery sighed. He will come. I guarantee it. And he will try to intimidate. But tomorrow, he will not be allowed to touch you. Not in front of witnesses. Not with cameras. Not with me here. We all took that in. Slow. Heavy. The next hours felt like preparation for a battle. Not a visit. Not an inspection. A battle. We cleaned. We organized. We checked plugs, corners, rooms, the yard, the garage, everything. My mom scrubbed the counters with a kind of determination I had never seen. My dad polished the tools in the garage. My sister folded her clothes carefully. Like each piece mattered. I walked through the house, looking at all the things I had grown up with. The walls I had touched 1,000 times. The floors I had played on as a kid. And I felt this deep ache. This was our home. Our safe place. And tomorrow, people who hated us, people who wanted to break us, would walk through it, judging, looking, searching, waiting to twist anything into a violation. Night came. Slow, cold, heavy. No one talked much. We just existed in the same space, holding on to whatever calm we could grab. At around 9, Avery checked the curtains again, then said, "They will come early. Be ready." My dad nodded. "We will." We all went to bed, but no one slept. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, listening to every noise, every car, every creak, my mind spinning with 1,000 what-ifs. What if Trent pushed my dad again? What if Julia provoked my mom? What if they found something to twist? What if they lied? What if the inspection was just a distraction? What if they were planning something bigger? Then the worst thought hit me. What if they already decided our fate? Before even stepping inside, I rolled over, closed my eyes, forced myself to breathe. Slow, steady, like Avery told us. Morning came fast. Too fast. Bright sunlight hit my eyes. My heart was already racing. Like I had run a mile. I walked out of my room. My family was already awake. Already dressed. Phones charged. Faces serious. Avery was standing near the door. Like a guard. Calm. Focused. Ready. He said. "They will be here any minute." We stood together in the living room. Silent. Waiting. Listening. Then we heard it. The engine. The rumble. The crunch of tires on gravel. My mom grabbed my arm. My sister stood behind my dad. My dad lifted his chin. Avery moved a step forward. We all turned toward the window. 3 HOA SUVs. Not one. Not two. 3. My stomach dropped. A cold wave washed over me. 3 officers stepped out. One with a clipboard. One with a camera. One with a smug expression. And then, Julia stepped out of the passenger seat. Slow. Poised. Smiling like she had already won. My breath caught in my throat. Avery whispered. "Stay calm. This is the worst part. The entrance." My mom whispered. "We are ready. We have to be ready." I felt my heart pounding in my chest. My hands sweating. My legs tense. Because this was it. The moment everything could change. The moment everything could break. Julia walked toward our door. Her heels clicking. The officers behind her. They looked confident. Too confident. Like they were walking into property they already owned. Julia raised her hand. Ready to knock. And I swear, that moment, right before her knuckles touched the door, I felt something shift inside me. Not fear. Not anger. Something else. Something sharper. Something stronger. Because now, this was not just their inspection. This was our home. Our line. Our fight. So tell me, if the people trying to break your family showed up with 3 SUVs, would you open the door calmly? Or would your heart be ready for war? Julia's knuckles hit the door. 3 slow knocks. Cold. Confident. Like she already owned the house. Like she already knew how the day would end. My dad looked at Avery. Avery nodded once. A calm, steady, measured nod. Open it. Let them see you are not scared. My dad took a long breath. Then reached for the handle. I felt my stomach twist. My chest tighten. My pulse beating in my ears. He opened the door. Not wide. Just enough. Enough to show we were ready. But not welcoming. Julia stood there. Hands folded. A polite smile that did not reach her eyes. Her hair tight. Her posture perfect. Her gaze sharp like a blade. "Good morning," she said. Her voice sweet. But fake. "We are here for your mandatory inspection." Behind her, 3 HOA officers stood in a line. One holding a clipboard. One holding a tablet. One holding a body cam. All of them serious. All of them watching us. All of them ready to twist anything we did. Avery stepped forward. Not enough to take over. Just enough to show presence. Authority. Confidence. He said, "I will be observing." Julia's fake smile twitched. A flick of annoyance. She clearly hated that he was here. "Of course," she said, though her tone made it clear she did not like it at all. My mom stood behind my dad. My sister next to her. I stood a little to the side. Recording. Every second. Julia looked inside. Slow. Judging. Scanning our home like she was checking for sins. "Not dust," she said. "Let's begin." She stepped in. Without waiting for permission. The officers followed. One step after another. Boots landing heavy on our wooden floor. It felt like an invasion. Not an inspection. Avery whispered. "Stay calm. Remember. They want to slip. Do not give them one." Julia looked around the living room. She ran her eyes across the walls. The pictures. The furniture. Checking. Scanning. Searching for flaws. She said, That carried more judgment than a full sentence. She pointed to a small plant on the shelf. "Is that real or artificial?" My mom blinked. Just confused. Real. Julia nodded. Artificial plants are allowed, but real ones over 12 inches require registration. Avery raised an eyebrow. There is no such rule. Julia's smile sharpened. We updated it last month. I felt anger crawl up my neck. Not because of the plant, but because she said updated. Not approved. Not voted on. Just updated. Like she could do whatever she wanted. Julia said, let's move on. She walked into the kitchen. Opened drawers. Checked the sink. Looked at the fridge magnets. Writing notes on her clipboard. My dad whispered to me. She is not inspecting. She is judging us. Personally. Avery whispered back. That is her style. She acts like she is looking for violations. But she is really looking for power. The second officer pointed at the garbage can. He said, is this bag sorted properly? My mom frowned. It is just trash. He said, we will check anyway. He opened it. Pulled the bag. Looked through it. Actually looked. Like a detective searching for clues. I whispered. This is insane. Avery whispered. This is normal for them. Julia walked into the hallway. She pointed at a picture frame. Tilted by maybe half an inch. She said, this frame is misaligned. It can imply unsafe installation practices. My dad stared at her. A silent, disbelieving stare. Avery whispered, do not react. Just record. Julia moved on. Bedroom by bedroom. Room by room. Opening closets. Opening drawers. Looking under the bed. Like she was searching for secrets. When she entered my sister's room, she paused. Her eyes scanned the posters. The books. The clothes folded on the chair. She said, teenage rooms often hide violations. Especially clothing rules. My sister stepped forward. Her voice shaking. There are no violations in my room. Julia gave her a slow, condensing smile. We will see. I felt rage. Pure rage. Rise in my chest. My sister had already cried today. She had already been targeted. Already humiliated. Avery touched my shoulder lightly. A silent reminder. Calm. Stay calm. Do not let them win. The officer with the tablet scanned the room. He said, we should check the closet. My sister stepped in front of it. No. Julia raised an eyebrow. Excuse me. My sister repeated. No. You are not going through my private things. Julia stepped closer. Too close. Her smile sharpened. If you deny access, that is a violation. And we escalate. My sister looked small. Scared. Shaking. My mom stepped beside her. She said, there is nothing wrong in this room. You can look around. But you will not intimidate her. Not again. Julia's jaw tightened. Her smile cracked. She hated resistance. Especially from someone she thought she could break. Avery stepped between them. His voice calm. Firm. The HOA can inspect. But they cannot search personal belongings. That is outside your authority. Julia's eyes narrowed. For a moment. A long moment. I thought she would snap. I thought she would call for backup. I thought she would twist the rule again. But she didn't. She turned sharply. Fine. Move on. The officers followed her. Annoyed. Frustrated. But silent. Avery had shut it down. At least for now. They moved to the basement next. Julia walked down the steps. Slow. Suspicious. Her heels echoing off the concrete. She pointed at the water heater. When was this last inspected? My dad said. Last spring. She said. We will confirm. She pointed at the fuse box. This labeling looks handwritten. You should consider replacing it. My dad stared. It is fine. Everything is fine. Julia ignored him. She tapped the concrete floor with her heel. This crack. Has it grown? My dad said. It has been there for 10 years. Julia wrote something on her clipboard. Then looked at my dad. 10 years without repair. Concerning. I whispered. She is creating violations. Avery whispered. That is exactly what she does. Finally, Julia looked at the stairs again. Then at the officers. Upstairs. Now. We followed them. Step by step. Our house no longer felt like our house. It felt like a stage. And they were the critics. Waiting to fail us. Julia paused at the top of the stairs. She looked at me. Directly. Her eyes cold. I hope your family understands. Cooperation makes everything easier. The way she said it. The tone. The timing. It felt like a threat. A subtle, quiet, calculated threat. I took a long breath. Then said, we are cooperating. We are not hiding anything. Julia smiled. The kind of smile people give right before doing something cruel. Good. Then you will not mind the next part. My stomach sank. What next? What else was she planning? Julia stepped closer, lowered her voice, and said, we will perform a compliance check on the garage. Inside and outside. Including stored items. Boxes. Tools. And all personal equipment. My dad's face tightened. He whispered, they want the garage. Why the garage? Avery's expression darkened. He understood. He knew. He said quietly, because garages are easy to twist. Any mess can be called a violation. Any tool can be called unsafe. Any box can be called improper storage. My chest tightened. Of course. Of course they wanted the garage. It was the one place that had not been cleaned today. Julia started walking toward it. Slow. Purposeful. Smiling. Like the game was about to end. And she already knew the winner. I followed. My mom followed. My dad followed. Avery followed. My sister followed. None of us speaking. None of us breathing right. Julia reached the garage door. Her hand on the handle. Ready, she said. Let's see what you are hiding in here. She pulled the door up. The metal rattled. The light hit the inside. My mom gasped. My dad froze. My sister covered her mouth. The garage, the place we cleaned, the place we organized, was a mess. Boxes were thrown around. Tools scattered. Shelves knocked over. Everything out of place. Someone had been inside. Someone had wrecked it. Julia's smile widened. So, this is how your family maintains your property. A cold bolt of fear shot through me. I whispered. This is not ours. Someone did this. Julia said. Or maybe. You are lying. Avery stepped forward. His voice sharp. No. This was staged. No family in this neighborhood would do this to themselves. Julia ignored him. She looked at me. Then at my dad. Then at the mess again. This is a serious violation. My heart pounded. My head spun. My palms sweated. Trent. I whispered. He was here last night. He must have done this. Avery nodded. Yes. He had a key. He was here. He did this. Julia said. We will issue a formal violation notice. Effective immediately. I looked at the mess. At Julia. At the officers. At the sabotage. At the clear setup. This was not a game anymore. This was not accidental. This was deliberate. Calculated. Personal. They wanted to break us. They wanted us gone. They wanted us scared. Silent. Obedient. My dad whispered. They went inside our garage. They touched our things. They staged this. Avery said. Yes. And they will deny it. Unless you fight back. With proof. With strategy. With everything you have. I felt something inside me. A shift. A resolve. A fire. They wanted war. Fine. So tell me, if someone broke into your garage, wrecked it, then blamed you for it, would you stay quiet? Or would you burn their lies to the ground? For a long moment, none of us moved. None of us spoke. We just stared at the wrecked garage. At the boxes scattered everywhere. At the tools knocked onto the floor. At the shelves pushed over like someone wanted chaos. Not inspection. My mom whispered. This is not real. This cannot be happening. My dad stepped forward. Knees stiff. Shoulders tense. He looked at the mess. Then at Julia. His voice low. Dangerously low. This was not like this. Someone came in. Someone touched our things. Julia raised an eyebrow. Her smile patient. But cruel. Are you accusing the HOA? Are you accusing our officers? Are you accusing me? My dad's jaw clenched. He said nothing. He knew one wrong word. One wrong tone. One wrong expression. Could be twisted into a violation. Or worse. Avery stepped forward. He moved slowly. Carefully. His voice steady. This garage was staged. Someone forced entry or used a spare key. Someone wanted to create a violation. Anyone with eyes can see that. The officer with the tablet stepped beside Julia. He said, we saw no forced entry. No signs of damage. Access was likely from the inside. Avery looked at him. Long. Hard. Then pointed toward a toolbox lying upside down. A tool rolling out slowly. He said, people do not leave their garage like this. No one lives like this. This is sabotage. Julia ignored him. She took a slow step into the garage, her heels clicking on the concrete. She examined the scattered items, picked up a broken zip tie, held it like evidence in a trial. This is unacceptable property maintenance. This violates storage rules, safety rules, and cleanliness guidelines. My mom took a step forward, her voice shaking. This is not ours. We did not do this. Julia lowered the zip tie, looked at my mom, then smiled. You will have an opportunity to dispute the violation. During the hearing, my sister gasped. A hearing? Already? Julia nodded. Yes. Your inspection has raised several serious concerns. We will schedule a mandatory hearing. My dad looked at her, his voice tight. Let me guess. One we cannot win. Julia tilted her chin. You will be judged fairly, according to HOA regulations. My chest tightened. Her version of fair felt like something that would destroy us, not protect us. Avery stepped closer, his tone sharp. You cannot create evidence. Then use it against them. Julia responded instantly. I did not create anything. This is their clutter, their mess, their responsibility. Avery opened his mouth to argue, but she raised her hand. A quiet, sharp gesture. This inspection is complete. We have all we need. My dad reached for his phone. He said, we recorded everything. Everything you did. Everything you said. Julia did not flinch. Her eyes flashed. Good. Transparency is important. Recordings will help during the hearing. She turned toward the officers. File a full report. Mark this as high priority. The officer with the clipboard nodded. Already done. The one with the camera said. We have enough footage. The one with the tablet said. This will be escalated immediately. I felt this wave of helplessness. This crushing feeling. Because they were not scared of cameras. They were not scared of witnesses. They were not scared of truth. They were confident. Too confident. Like they already knew how this would end. Julia walked toward the garage door. Her shoulders back. Her chin high. Her smile small. Satisfied. Thank you for your cooperation. We will contact you regarding the hearing date. She stepped out. The officers followed. Slow. Methodical. Like they had completed a mission. Not an inspection. Avery waited until they were far down the driveway. Then he turned to us. His eyes serious. His voice even more serious. This is worse than I expected. Much worse. My dad said. They destroyed my garage. They destroyed my things. They made a mess. Then blamed us. Avery nodded. They want leverage. They want pressure. They want you scared. So you make mistakes. So you break. So you fold. Or move out. My mom sat on a crate. Her hands trembling. Her head shaking slowly. Why us? Why this? Why go this far? Avery sighed. Because you pushed back. Because Trent lost control. Because the board wants to prove a point. My sister whispered. What if they break more things? What if they come back at night? Like they did yesterday. Avery's face hardened. That is the part one I'm worried about. The sabotage. The break-ins. The staged violations. It means they are willing to sneak around. Not just threaten. Not just inspect. They want evidence. Fake or not. My dad ran his hand through his hair. His voice cracked. This is insane. This is beyond HOA power. This is criminal. Avery said. They operate between the lines. Just far enough under the law to avoid real consequences. But far enough above fear to control everyone. My mom whispered. What about police? Real police. Can we call them? Avery shook his head. Not yet. You have no proof they entered. No footage of who did it. No fingerprints. No forced entry. They will say you staged it. They will say you are trying to avoid responsibility. They will twist everything. My stomach twisted. It felt like a trap. A cage. A game where only they knew the rules. Avery looked around the garage. He said, we need to document everything. Right now. Before they come back. Before they change their story. We pulled out our phones. Recorded every corner. Every shelf. Every tool on the floor. Every box thrown. Every sign of sabotage. My dad recorded the lock. The frame. The hinges. Everything that showed there was no forced entry. Which meant, someone used a key. Avery whispered. That is the part that scares me. Someone either had a spare. Or they have access to the HOA master keys. Someone planned this. I felt a cold wave wash through me. A slow, deep, creeping fear. Avery looked at me. He said, this is bigger than Trent. He does not think this far ahead. This is someone else. Someone higher. Someone calculating. My mind raced. Julia. Board members. Someone else on the board. Someone who hated us. Someone who wanted control. Someone who wanted us scared. My dad said, what do we do now? Avery said, you prepare for the hearing. You gather everything. All footage. All timelines. All details. You stay calm. You stay firm. My mom shook her head. But they will lie. They will twist. They will attack us. Avery nodded slowly. Yes, they will. But you can still win. Even if the board is corrupt. There are ways. My sister asked. Like what? Avery said. Like proving they targeted you. Like showing patterns of harassment. Like gathering witnesses. Even if anonymous. Like involving state regulators. Like contacting the media. Only if things get worse. My eyes widened. The media. Avery nodded. HOA boards hate public attention. They hate being exposed. They hate people seeing who they truly are. My dad whispered. Are we really going there? Avery said. Not yet, but you keep that option in your pocket. Just in case. We stood there, surrounded by the mess. The sabotage. The silent threat. It felt like the quiet before a storm. A storm we did not ask for. A storm we did not create. But one we were now stuck in. My dad placed his hand on my shoulder. He said, we fight. We do not run. I nodded, because running felt worse. Running felt like surrender. Avery checked the driveway again, making sure the HOA cars were gone. Then he locked the garage door. Double-checked it. Triple-checked it. He said, they will wait a day. Maybe two. Then the hearing notice will arrive. They always move fast. When they feel powerful. My sister whispered, are we safe tonight? Avery paused. His silence said everything. He finally said, stay together. Do not open the door for anyone. Lights on. Phones on. Record everything. My mom wrapped her arms around herself. You think they will come tonight? Avery said. Trent might. Or someone else might. The sabotage in the garage was not an accident. They wanted you rattled. They wanted you scared. They wanted you confused. So yes, be ready. My chest tightened. My heartbeat quickened. Every fear from the morning returned. Stronger. Darker. Because now, it was nighttime danger. Not daytime intimidation. Nighttime was worse. Nighttime meant shadows. Silence. Opportunities. We walked into the house. Closed the door. Locked it. Bolted it. Turned on every light. My sister sat on the couch. Curling up. trying to feel small, trying to feel invisible. My mom held her tightly. My dad stood by the window, watching the street, waiting. Avery turned off his phone's ringer. He said, "Stay alert. HOA retaliation does not end in daylight. They love nights, because nights hide everything." I sat next to my sister, my mind loud, my fear louder, because now, they were pushing harder, acting bolder, crossing lines they never should cross. And deep down, I knew something else, something worse. Tonight would not be quiet. Something was coming, something dark, something planned. So tell me, if you knew the people targeting your family might show up at night, would you sleep? Or would you sit awake, waiting in the dark? That night felt heavier than any night we ever lived through. The house was bright, every light on, every curtain closed, every shadow watched, every sound magnified. My dad sat near the front window, not moving, not blinking, holding his phone, ready to record, ready for whatever came. My mom stayed near my sister, one hand on her shoulder, one hand gripping her phone, trying to look calm, but her breath shaky, her eyes wide, her fear real. Avery stayed by the door, arms crossed, back straight, jaw clenched. He looked like a man who had seen nights like this. Too many nights. Nights where danger waited in quiet places. I walked between rooms, unable to sit still, my body restless, my mind spinning, my chest tight. Then, around 11, we heard it, a slow car engine, rolling down the street. Not fast, not normal, slow, almost creeping. My sister sat up straight. "What is that?" My dad held up a hand. "Quiet." We all listened. The engine got louder, closer. Then it stopped, right in front of our house. Avery moved to the window, lifted the curtain just an inch, then let it fall. "It is them," he whispered. My heart jumped. My throat went dry. My mom whispered, "Who? Which one?" Avery said, "Trent. And someone else. I think one of the board members." My dad stood, his fists clenched, his voice shaking with anger. "I swear, if he tries something again." Avery cut him off. "Do not react. No matter what happens. Do not step outside. Do not give them what they want." We all moved closer to the window, not touching it, just listening. Car doors opened. Boots hit the pavement. Two shadows moved across our lawn. Slow, purposeful, testing us. Then, a knock. Not a normal knock. Not polite. Not official. A slow, heavy, threatening knock. My mom whispered, "No, no. Why are they here again?" Avery stood at the door, his hand not on the handle, but close, ready, cautious. The knocking continued. Steady. 3 taps. Silence. 3 taps. Silence. My dad whispered, "We are not opening it. Not this time." Avery nodded. "Correct." My sister curled up tighter, her voice cracking. "Why are they doing this? Why won't they leave us alone?" A voice came from outside. Loud. Sharp. Familiar. "This is HOA security. We need to speak with the homeowner. Trent." I stepped back, my heart pounding. Avery whispered, "Do not respond." "Not yet." Trent knocked again. Harder. "Sir. We saw lights on. We know you are awake. Open the door." My dad's breathing got louder. "Angrier." He whispered. "He sounds drunk. Or angry. Or both." Avery said, "Yes. Which is why you cannot open the door." Trent knocked again. Louder than before. His voice rising. "We need to discuss a violation. Now." Avery whispered. "That is a lie. They never do violations at night. This is intimidation. Nothing more." My mom whispered, "Should we call the police?" Avery nodded. "But not yet. Wait another second. Let me listen." Trent's voice echoed again, dragging through the door. "If you keep avoiding the HOA, we escalate. We escalate hard." A shiver ran down my spine. Escalate. Everything they already did felt like escalation. What was left? What else could they do? Then we heard another voice. Not Trent. Not calm. Not friendly. "Open the door. Or we take note of this as non-cooperation." It was board member Carter, Julia's right hand. The man who fined a neighbor for having a wind chime. The one who already hated our family for setting a bad example. Avery whispered, "They brought Carter. This is no random visit. They planned this. They want you scared before the hearing." My dad said, "I am not scared. They're just loud bullies." Avery said, "I know, but they want fear. And if they cannot get fear, they will try to provoke anger." My throat tightened, because now, the knocking stopped. The threats stopped. The voices stopped. Silence. Silence somehow felt worse than the knocking. Worse than the shouting. Worse than everything before. Avery whispered, "They are checking the house perimeter." My mom covered her mouth. My sister buried her face in her hands. I whispered, "Why would they walk around our house? What are they looking for?" Avery said, "Weak points. Unlocked windows. Something to report. Something to twist. Something to use." I felt sick. Physically sick. We heard gravel crunch. Leaves rustle. Footsteps near the side of the house. Then the backyard. Then the garage. Avery whispered, "They are trying to find something. Something they can call a violation. Something they can claim as unsafe. Or unsecured. My dad clenched his teeth. The garage. They already staged it once. What if they try again? Avery took a step. No. No one moves. We stay inside. The footsteps returned. Came around the house again. Then returned to the front door. Trent knocked once. A single, heavy, hard knock. Then he said something that made my skin crawl. If you do not open, the board will take this as refusal to comply. And refusal has consequences. Avery whispered. He is bluffing. They cannot do anything at night. They cannot enforce anything right now. My dad said. Then let me talk to him. No. Avery said instantly. The moment you open that door, you lose. Then, suddenly, silence again. Then we heard 2 sets of footsteps walking away. Slow. Like they wanted us to think they were leaving. Like they wanted us to relax. Like they wanted us to exhale. But Avery didn't move. He didn't breathe. He didn't blink. Something is off, he said. We all stayed still, waiting, listening. Then, a metal clank. From the garage door. My sister gasped. My mom grabbed her tighter. My dad whispered. They are trying to get in again. They are trying to open it. Avery whispered. Phones. Record. Now. We all ran to grab our phones. Pointed them toward the hallway. Toward the windows. Toward the sound. The metal clank came again. Then scraping. Then a thud. Avery whispered. They are testing it. Trying to see if it opens. Trying to see if they can call it unsecured. My dad whispered. Then let them see it is locked. We locked it ourselves. Avery nodded. Good. That means they will fail. But they want you scared. Before tomorrow's hearing. They want you shaken. So you go in weak. Unsteady. We listened. Another thud. Another scrape. Then silence. Avery peeked through the side window. Slow. Cautious. Barely lifting the curtain. He whispered. They left. They are heading back to the SUV. My lungs expanded. But only slightly. Fear did not leave. Fear stayed. Sitting in my chest like a weight. We watched through the curtain. As Trent and Carter returned to their SUV. Talking. Laughing. Looking back at our house. Like we were entertainment. Not people. They drove away. Slow. Still trying to intimidate us. Avery waited until their lights disappeared. Then finally stepped back. Finally exhaled. Finally let his shoulders drop. He said, they were testing you. They wanted to see how you react under pressure. And you did well. Very well. My mom whispered. But this means tomorrow will be worse. Doesn't it? Avery nodded. Yes. Tomorrow. They will not play games. Tomorrow. They will come prepared. Tomorrow. They will try to tear you apart in that hearing. My sister whispered. I do not want to go. I do not want to see them. Avery sat beside her. His voice soft. You are stronger than you think. They want fear. Do not give it to them. My dad walked to the window again. He whispered. This ends tomorrow. One way or another. This ends tomorrow. I looked around our small living room. The lights. The fear. The tension. The exhaustion. Then I thought about the hearing. The lies. The sabotage. The intimidation. The threats. The power they thought they had over us. For the first time, I did not feel only fear. I felt anger. I felt fire. I felt something rising in me. Avery turned toward me. He saw something in my face. He asked, You ready for tomorrow? I nodded. Because tomorrow, we were not walking into their hearing as victims. We were walking in as a family. Together. Prepared. Watching. Recording. Ready to hit back. Not with fists. Not with anger. But with truth. And proof. And the one thing they never expected. Courage. Tomorrow would be the day everything changed. For them. For us. For the neighborhood watching silently. I stood up. Looked at my family. Looked at Avery. Then said quietly. Let them try. So tell me. If tomorrow was the day you finally faced the people who tried to break you, would you walk in afraid? Or would you walk in ready to end it once and for all?